Hi everybody, this is Sean Fallon from Dickinson High School, and today's crash course video will be on how to create a test on the Performance Matters platform. The purpose of this video is to give you a brief overview of how to create test questions and actual tests on Performance Matters. To all my friends and colleagues who are at MS7 today with our fantastic social studies supervisor, Melissa Dos Santos, you guys are learning about research simulation tasks, and I'm sorry that I couldn't be there with you to go through this in person, but I'm sure you guys can find a way to enjoy the workshop without me. Today, what we're going to be doing specifically is very short and very focused. We aren't going to be looking at any data or trying to understand any data. We aren't going to be copying tests or modifying tests for special needs students, and we're not going to be dealing with any of the scoring rubrics. Okay, all we're going to be doing is creating a test question or questions, and then pulling them together to form a test or a quiz that you can give to your kids, either on a computer or one that you'd print out and let them answer on a bubble sheet, and then scan that answer sheet back into the platform like you did on Achievement Series. Before I go any further, and before we start talking about creating test items, let me just show you this link here to our first Performance Matters video. If you don't know anything about Performance Matters, or you've never used it before, or you have just very limited knowledge of the platform, I would suggest that you go look at the video that we made last year when we were first introduced to it. If you click on this link right here, you can pause the video and type it in on your own, obviously, because you can't click on the video. So if you want to just pause it and then type it in inside of another window, it's going to bring you to my YouTube page. And the most important. So this is the video. And if you wanted to go to my page to see all of our videos, you can just go in the search bar up here and type in my name, which is Sean Fallon, and just type in channel. And it will bring you to our channel, and it'll show you all of our videos. Okay, here I am right here. If you go to videos, you'll see all 6 of them. And the one we're talking about specifically is down here for the first Performance Matters webinar. What this was our first video on Performance Matters. It was an overview of what it is, how we were going to transition from Achievement Series to Performance Matters. And then basically, the meat of it is about 20 minutes of me navigating the platform and showing the viewer how to access different data for their students, and how you can use the platform to analyze specific test questions that your students have answered. Okay, so if you don't know anything about the platform and you want to have a little bit of background on it, you can go right here to this video that I made last year, and you can get a pretty good idea of exactly what it is that we're going to be doing. Okay, so for the purposes of today, what I'd like you to do is, if you're watching this video on your laptop and you want to do this as I do it, just open up another tab and go to Performance Matters. Okay, so you can type it right in the search bar. Okay, go right to the site. You should have your login credentials already. If you don't, you can email me, and I'll forward that, or you can email it directly to Bruce Henniger, and he will probably be happy to get you your login credentials. So I'm going to log in, and we're going to start to create some items together. Okay, so my dashboard might look a little bit different than yours, only because for the purposes of this training, I've been given a different type of access than other people may have. I'm not sure about that, but I was told that my dashboard looks a little bit different. So if your dashboard doesn't look like this, don't be worried. Just kind of focus on these tabs up on top. Okay, today we're going to be working exclusively in the Items tab and in the Test tab. Okay, items are just test questions. Okay, so we can't create a test unless we have questions, obviously. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to make your own question. Okay, to do that, you're going to go into Items and just go to New Item. Okay, and that'll bring you to this item creation page. Okay, what it wants you to do is give you a title, give the question a title. I find that it's a little bit difficult to keep track of the title of every question. So what I do is I create a spreadsheet where I have a little grid that I put each item number for each, test question that I create. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a minute. For the purposes of this, we'll just call it video sample question 1. Okay, so now my question has a name. Once I create it, I'm going to tag it, and I'm going to show you, all the question banks and all that stuff where it goes. For now, let's just focus on how you make the question. These are the choices of the different kinds of questions you could make. Okay, I'm not going to go into all of them today. I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. If I went in and created an example of every one of these questions, this video would probably ended up being, 30 or 40 minutes. I want it to be, 10 or 15. So the easiest type of question to create for me is just a simple multiple choice. Okay, if you drag the cursor over the different types of questions, a lot of them are self-explanatory. If you need an explanation, it pops up right here for you. Okay, this is what a multiple choice is. They have inline choice where you can drop down and choose different answers. There's matching. There's a hotspot where the student can select one or more responses from a list that's given to them after the question stem. Extended text would be if you wanted them to answer an essay type question. And a text entry would be just a simple, you pose the question, they type in a short response answer. Okay, so let's go to multiple choice. And this is how it looks. Okay, the prompt or the stem is just the question, and down here is where you're going to fill in your multiple choice answers. Okay, for the past couple of days, I've been working on creating a common assessment for our U.S. History 1 and 2 courses at the high school level. And Melissa Dos Santos was, generous enough to send me the US 1 RST test that we're going to be playing with at the workshop today. So what I did was take this test that she created and I turned it into a test that we could use on Performance Matters. Okay, so for this first question, okay, I'm going to be jumping back and forth from this document to Performance Matters. Okay, so don't get confused. This question here, it's basically a reading comprehension question. Okay, you have a prompt that explains exactly what they're going to be doing. We're going to skip over the essay because that would be a separate question in itself. That's obviously not a multiple choice question. Okay, so we're going to go right to this part 1, and all I'm going to do is copy and paste the directions and the sources of information and the first question into the stem. Okay, so here are my directions, here are my sources, all the different speakers. Okay, so I'm going to take this information because this is what the kids need to read before they answer the first question, and I'm going to put this at the very top of my question and into my test. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to bounce back to Performance Matters, and I'm going to paste it right into my question stem or my prompt. Okay, so as this goes in, you're probably going to want to clean it up. Okay, it usually doesn't space anything out for you, so I like to have the directions and the sources split up, so the directions will be there. I'll move the source down just so the kids can read it a little bit easier, and then I'll put some spaces here between the different speakers so the kids can see the difference between the people talking here. Speaker 3, Speaker 4, Speaker 5, Speaker 6. Okay, so this is all the information that the kids are going to go through and read through before they're asked to answer that first question. Okay, just underneath this is where I'm going to put our first question. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the document. I've already copied the information that the kids need to read, and now I'm going to take my first question. Okay, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it right down here. Okay, so I'm going to call this question number 1, and there it is. Okay, so I have my reading material, I have my question. Now I have to give the kids some answer choices. So I'm going to just bounce back here. I'm going to take my choices. This is A. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in here into A. This is B. Okay, I'm going to copy B. I'm going to put it in B, in Performance Matters. I'm going to go back to my text. I'm going to take C. There's C. Now you notice that this popped in a little bit differently when the number 1, with the number 1 there. Okay? Sometimes when you're copying and pasting from a document, any kind of document, Word doc, Google Doc, these letters over here translate into numbers. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to correct that in a minute. I'm just going to add the 4th choice. Okay, and put it into Performance Matters. And anytime you have an answer pop in with a number or a letter in front of it, you want to try to get rid of that, okay? Because over here is where you're going to have A, B, C, and D as choices, okay? It's not going to be A, B, C, and D. It's going to be just dots that the kids are going to click on, when they select their answer. I'm going to show you that when we preview the test, okay? So for the purposes of the setup of this question, it was a reading sample. It was a simple question and an A, B, C, D choice answer, okay? We've cut and pasted all of our information into Performance Matters. Our question's up top. Our answer choices are down the bottom. I'm going to get rid of this 1 by just going to this little red arrow, which allows me inside the box, okay? I wish I could explain to you why these 2 answer choices went in there, cleanly, the way I wanted them to go in, and why these had 1s. I just suspect because of the fact that there's A, B, C, D next to them, they went in and translated a little bit differently. Okay, so I'm going to go click on this red arrow. That's going to put me inside the box, and all I'm going to do is just delete the 1. Okay, same thing down here. Okay, so now you have 4 choices that look good. Now you have to tell the platform which one of these is the right answer. Okay, it automatically marks all of them wrong until you tell it which one is right. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the document that Melissa sent me, which is the actual test. Down at the bottom, we have the key. And for number 1, the correct answer is A. Okay, I know that I put these in order, A, B, C, D, exactly like she had them in this document. Okay, so to me, the correct answer, is going to be up here, which is A. Okay, so just click on it. It'll go green to correct. And then you're ready to go. Okay, any kid that obviously answers A or this first answer is going to get it right. On a question like this, we're not going to allow partial credit. You could if you wanted to, I guess. And then down here, it offers you this choice to shuffle unlocked choices. Okay, so in that case, the locked choice would be A being correct. Okay, what would be shuffled is the incorrect answers. Okay, so this would always stay as A, or the first one being correct, and then it would shuffle the others, if you wanted that to happen as it got presented to the kids. Okay, so now that I have my question all laid out, what I'm going to do is save the item. Okay, so go up in here to the top right corner, click on Save Item, and what this will do is direct you to the item banks. Okay, the item banks are where we're going to store the questions that we create. Okay, now obviously the question that I just created was from something given to us, by our supervisor, and it's going to be part of the, December assessment that they created, for the whole district. Okay, so this is not something I created on my own, but even if it was, all the stuff that we create is going to go here into the Jersey City Public Schools tab. Okay, this is our item bank of all the questions that get created by everyone in the district. Okay, so when I click on Jersey City, now it's going to give me my choice for my content area. Obviously this is a social studies question, so I'm going to scroll down here to social studies. And then for now, the only bank that we have is the RST Bank, okay, the Research Simulation Task Bank. Okay, eventually we're going to have a bunch of different banks here where we can have, every teacher that teaches US 1 bank questions, US 2, we'll have them broken up by, by content area. So you can go in there and look for questions about lessons and topics that you're doing at the time. So we're going to click on RST and we're going to click OK. So now the system knows where to bank that question. And you'll notice that over here on the left side, it's given me an item number. Okay? Pay very close attention to the item numbers and always record the item numbers, because that is how you're going to keep track of these questions. And this is also how we're going to go back later and pull these questions out of the bank and make them a part of our test. Okay? So the way I keep track of that is by making that grid that I told you before. Okay? My item number for here is 4796524. Okay, so 4796524. I'm going to write that down on a piece of paper, and I'm going to open up my personal Google Doc where I keep all of my assessment item codes. Okay? This assessment that I'm trying to create is a US History 1 Research Simulation Task. For question number 1, which is what we just created together, I'm going to put my code right here. Okay? Obviously, this code is a little bit different than the one we just copied down. And that's only because I created this test earlier today, and this was the item code that the system gave me earlier today when I created this. Okay? So you'll notice here I have 10 questions in an essay, and each one of them has their own item code. Okay? And I'm going to show you why that's important in a minute when we pull these questions that we create together to make our test. Okay, so this is not something that you're going to find in Performance Matters. This is a Google Doc that I created to keep track of my own item codes. Okay, so we have US History 1 here. Down here we did US History 2. So we'll bounce back to this in a second. Now that we have our first item, we're going to move on and make one more question before I show you how to make a test, and that's going to be the end of it. Okay, so I've already saved my item, and I've been given an item number. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is submit it. Okay, when you hit submit, this question that we're creating right now becomes a part of the permanent bank. Okay, we can go back later and delete it if we want to. We don't have to do that right now. It's not a big deal. But just keep in mind that once you submit a question, it becomes part of the permanent district, question bank. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when I went to the first workshop, this is one of the things that we worked on, and people were creating, random question samples, just for practice. And some people wrote some things in there that were, kind of just for our table to look at and to see. Not obscene things, but just, things that people were joking around talking about that, I wouldn't necessarily want the district head of, testing or assessment reading. So just be very mindful that when you submit something, even if it's something you're doing for practice or just to mess around with the system to get familiar with it, keep in mind that anything you submit and you bank, can be read by other people in the district. Okay, so I'm going to click submit. It says that it's been accepted. And now basically I can move on to making my next question. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to items. I'm going to do it one more time for you. I'm going to click on new item. It's going to say, do you want to leave this site? You're not leaving the site, you're just leaving this page. It says that some of the changes you've made may not be saved. Okay, they always give you this message just as a precaution, because if you bounce back and forth between tabs, like if you bounce between items and tests without saving this will all be gone. Okay, so whenever you complete a question, always save it and submit it so it's it's saved and it's in the bank. Okay, so because I've done that, I'm going to click leave and not worry about losing my work. Okay, so my next item is going to be, we'll call it sample question number 2. We're going to make one more. All right, this one will make another multiple choice. Same thing we just did. I'll go back to my information that Melissa sent me. And first thing I'd like you to know is that you don't have to repost the reading piece. Okay, inside question number 1, we put all of our sources and everything that the kids need to read to answer these questions. Okay, it's already at the top of the document. When we create our test, it will be at the top, and the kids will be able to scroll back up and look at it, anytime they need to during the test. And obviously, if you print this out and give it to them in paper form, they'll be able to flip back to the first page and read this information over again as many times as they want. Okay, so from now on, I'm going to just be creating questions. I don't have to repost this. Okay, question 1 is done. To make question 2, it's going to be even easier. All I'm going to do is copy and paste this question right here, and I'm going to bring it into Performance Matters into my new question. Okay, I want this to be number 2. This is a Part B question, and there's the question. Okay, after I drag in my question, I'm going to bring in my answer choices. Okay, this is going to be A. Okay, this is going to be choice B. This is going to be choice C. And finally, choice D. Oh. Okay, we'll copy that and bring it into Performance Matters. As I mentioned before, because of the ABCD format, I'm assuming that's why they gave us these ones. These are all obviously not choice number 1. And if you're OCD like I am, you're going to want to get rid of that as soon as possible so everything looks uniform. So just go to your red arrows, brings you inside your answer choice box, clean it up like that, and you're good to go. Okay, I have to do the other 3. Like I said before, I wish I could explain to you why this happens exactly, but sometimes they go in cleanly, sometimes they don't. But it's not the end of the world. It's pretty easy to clean these up. Okay, so I have my question right here. I have my 4 choices. Let's go see which one of these choices is correct. Number 2, the answer is C. Okay, so here we have A, B, C. C is correct. Okay, I have everything laid out just the way I want it. I'm going to save the item. When I save the item, it's going to ask me what bank they want it in, or I want it in. I'm going to go down to Social Studies and put it in the RST Bank for now. Okay, once I do that, I get my number. Okay, this is the most important part of the creation. Okay, getting the number written down. Our number is 4796525. Okay, that's question number 2. So now that we have more than one question, we have 2 questions banked. Okay, I'm going to submit it. And I like to hit save one more time just to be safe. And now this is going to allow me to leave this page without losing any of this information. Okay, I'm only going to do these 2 questions for now because I want to keep the videos as short as we can keep it. But at a later date or hopefully in person, we'll be able to go through how to create inline choices, matches, hotspots. There's a lot of really nice things we can do with this platform. You can embed video, so you can go up to this link right here, click on that, and you can paste a YouTube URL in here and actually have the kids watch a video. Okay, so instead of a question inside this box right here, it'll be a video that they can click on. They'll watch it and then obviously answer, whatever it is that you set up for them down here. So there's a lot of fun stuff that we can do with this. We're just not going to get into all that right now. So now that we have our two questions created, where we're going to go is not into the items um, area. We're going to go into the test area. Okay, so I'm going to click on tests, and inside this tab, the choices are pretty simple. Okay, the test center is where a lot of our district assessments are going to be located. We're not going to deal with that right now. We're going to create a new test on our own. Okay. Same message that you want to leave. Anything that we've done may not be saved, but we've saved and banked our question already, so we don't have to worry about leaving this page. Okay. When you go to the edit test page, there are two tabs here. The first one says properties, the other one says administration. I'm not going to get into all the details of exactly what these are for right now, just because it takes a while. And, today we're just focusing on how to create these tests. But it's pretty simple. It's just something that you have to practice, okay? Your test needs a title. You can describe it if you want to. You can put it into a category, so it can be a diagnostic test, an SGO, a summative, a formative, a quiz. That's going to be up to you. We'll call this test, we'll call it video sample test. Okay, this will be a quiz. You can type in the type of course that you're teaching. All right, I'm a social studies teacher, so that'll be social studies course. The grade levels you teach, feel free to put those in there. And then the mastery and the threshold. Okay, so the way these are going to be scored is, 80 and up is considered mastery. 79 down to 70 is going to be, passing, or in that, I guess, yellow colored achievement band if you've done this before. And then below 70, you're in the red. Okay, so don't worry about that right now. The test administration tab, don't worry about that either. Who has access to the test, what your testing window is going to be. The site automatically gives you a 30-day window to administer the test. It asks you, the ways that you want to offer the test online, scan sheets, etc. So just skip over this for now and go to add items. Okay, when you go to add items, they're going to ask you where. Okay, right here in this top box, if you click on authored by me, you will be able to look at every test item that you've ever created. Okay, so obviously some of these are pretty simple because these are the ones that I created, the first day that I learned how to do this in September. So my first question that I created was, what comes after the number 1? Okay, here are my choices, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, basically the easiest type of question that I could think of. Okay, as I scroll down, as I said, every question that I've ever created will be in here. Okay, I'm not going to go through that right now because every time I make a test, I don't want to have to scroll through every single question I've ever made. Okay, that's why keeping track of your test item numbers is very, very important. Okay, the first item we created, if you wrote it down, was number 4796524. Okay, and when I go up into this search bar and I type in that number, it's going to bring me to the exact question that we just made. Okay, if you want to preview what this would look like on a test, you go up here to preview, and it shows you exactly what the kids are going to see. Okay, so here are the directions, here are my sources, I get down here to my question, and here are my answer choices. Okay, so if you ever have any questions about what the question is going to look like for the kids, or if you want to edit something, or you just you don't like the way it fits on the paper, or any reason, you can edit this stuff. Okay, so now that I've looked at that question and I like how it looks, I'm going to just click right here to select that question, and I'm going to add it to my assessment. Okay, so down here in the right hand corner, I'm going to click add to assessment, and here it is. Okay, this question is now part of my test. Okay, this is a 2-question test that we're creating, so you can weight it any way you want. You can make it 50% of the test. You could make it worth 1 point. You can weight it any way you like. We're going to add one more item before we finalize the test. Okay, if you remember the second item that we created and you wrote down the number, hopefully you did. If you didn't, I did. So item number 2, we're going to go into our search box and we're going to type in the code number. It was 4796525. Okay, once I type that in, question number 2 that we created together a few minutes ago pops right in. Here's my question. Here are my choices. You can double check it if you want to. You can preview it if you want to. This is exactly what the kids will see. If you like it, you click OK. You select it, and then you add it to your test. Okay? So right now we have a test made up of 2 questions. And what we're going to do is save it. Okay, so we're going to go up here into the top right corner. We're going to click on Save. And now that it's been saved, you can actually preview exactly what the kids are going to see. Okay, here are my 2 questions. Top right corner says Test Preview. And this is going to bring you to exactly what the kids are going to see. Okay, so click on this. It'll bring you to a new page. It's going to ask you to log in again. You log in, okay, and this is what the kids are going to see. Click on the test we just made, which was video sample. The first thing they show you is the navigation tabs, previous screen, next screen, submit test. These are all the tools that the kids are going to have. If you create an essay question, you can have like a word processing toolbar added. That's something that we can show you later. For now, we're going to just show you the test that we just created. Okay, so click Next. And here's our test. Okay, our directions, all of our information, question number 1. If you like it, you go to the next one. You can answer it if you want to. Go on to the next. This is question number 2. This is exactly what it's going to look like. After you screen this, you can click Submit, and then you're done. Okay, this is what the student would do. After the student answers the final question, he or she would click Submit, and there it goes. Okay, the test would be added to the platform, and it would be scored for you. Okay, I'm actually going to delete this test, just because I don't want this taking up space in the bank. Hopefully you guys know exactly what it is that we just did. If you have any trouble or problem with it, you can just rewind. A couple other things that I wanted to show you. How to edit a test question. Okay, so let's say we created one of those test questions and I misspelled something, or I looked at it in the test preview window and I didn't like how it looked. I go over here to Tests. Okay, I can go to New Test. Go inside the search tab or the search window here. I click on this little arrow or the little magnifying glass, and it brings me back to where I can see everything that I've ever made, okay, authored by me. So I'm going to click on this, okay, and as I scroll down, this is every test item that I've ever made, okay, and I'm going to bring you guys all the way down to the bottom because I want to show you the test that we created earlier today. And I'm not going to edit, I'm just going to show you how it can be edited, okay? Or you know what, let's make it even easier. Let's edit a question, okay? Let's go up and find one of the questions that we just made. Okay, you can search by name, or you can search by code number, okay? The first question we made was 4796524. Okay, let me see if I can find it. It might be down at the bottom here. Okay, so here we go. These are the last 2 questions that we made, video sample 1 and sample 2. Click on this little edit tab, and that will bring you back to your original window where you created it, and you could edit anything you want in here. Okay, if you misspelled something, if you left something out, if one of these choices was a little too easy or a little too hard, and you wanted to change it, that's how you edit. Okay, you go to Tests, go inside your little search bar, and that's where you can access everything that you've ever made by going authored by me. Okay, scroll through. Here's your edit. Okay, I'm going to log out for now. Uh, if you guys have any questions or problems about anything that we just did, or you have any trouble making your own question or saving it or banking it or anything like that, shoot me an email. This is my district email address, and if you need to, you can call me on my cell. Okay? Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope it saves you from having to, email 5 different people trying to figure out how to create these items, and you're able to access this whenever you want from my YouTube channel, and you can do this stuff on your own. Okay? Thank you very much, and good luck.